Hello. Hello, hello, hello. As you can see, we've gone rather festive. I hope you like the glasses. We're here for BSL Blethers. So on behalf of BDA Scotland, I'd like to welcome you to our Christmas special, where we're talking about Christmas at home. We're going to be talking about a whole range of things to get us all ready for the festive season. So I'd like to invite some of my colleagues from BDA Scotland, some of the staff members at BDA Scotland onto the screen to talk to us about Christmas at home and to give us some ideas of how to improve our Christmases. I hope you enjoy our Christmas session today. Christmas is, just 2 weeks away, isn't it? And I know times are difficult with the new Omicron variant and people being anxious about being home alone. So that was our thinking, putting together this program. And I'd like to invite, first of all, Helen Morgans-Venholt.
Hello, hi there.
Hello, look at you. You look fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm so excited to show all of you all the different crafts that I've made at home.
Wow, looking forward to that. It all looks very lovely. Could I invite James Barnes-Miller now? James, are you there?
Hello.
Oh, nice hat, James.
Do you like it? Yes.
Looks grand. Looks grand. And I'm going to ask you some questions in a moment, but I'd like to invite now Moira Ross. Nice top, Moira.
Thank you very much.
And a charming little hat there. Okay, so we're here to talk about Christmas at home. And there are a number of aspects of that. Of course, we're all dressed up, and that's kind of the beginning of the fun. But Christmas is almost upon us now. I mean, like we've just got just over a week. So what have you each been doing to make Christmas at your home special? Let's ask, who should we ask first? Helen, let's take you first. Tell us a little bit about what you've been making, and especially, I know you're a big craft fan. James, I know that you are a big fan of films and TV. You're going to talk to us about that. Are you? Great. And Moira, you're going to be talking to us about crafts and presents for pets. Is that right?
That's correct, Avril.
Great. Well, that's quite a lot of the bases covered then. So let's perhaps go to Helen first. Can you tell us some crafty things we could get up to, Helen, please?
Absolutely, Avril. I get so excited about crafts. Do you remember when we had a BSL Blethers about how the earth was dying? And it was Marilyn who was giving her presentation. Well, that completely stayed with me, and it made me think about how we buy Christmas things every year, but we should be keeping them. So I want to show you some of my favourite recycling and upcycling goods. So there you go. There's
that looks great.
Bottle. I'll show you how you make that. So the first thing what you would do is you look for old Christmas cards, or old bright cards.
So you're not throwing your Christmas cards away, you're keeping them?
No, you keep them. You get a big pom-pom pencil. You don't need a big pom-pom pencil, but I just have one.
Well, it's perfect.
And what you do is you cut stripes in the card. So just make lines, you can see.
Oh, yeah.
I demonstrated it. And then you cut these out. So you do that. I've got one that I prepared earlier. But what you have to do, and this is a must, is make sure you have these pins.
What are these?
Called? There you go. They're called split pins, and you can buy them.
I know the ones.
Anywhere.
Haven't seen those for years.
Oh, that's really important. And I'll explain why. Because once you've cut all of your card into strips, you make a wee hole at the top. Do you see it? Just with a puncher, sorry. And make a hole there. And then you get the split pin, put it through the centre of all the cards.
Just one through the middle, right?
And then as you're doing that, and I'll show you, there's the one that I've made before. So what happens when you put the split ring in, you then move the card around
Oh,
and it
that's
bends.
clever.
Put a bit of ribbon at the top, and there you have a Christmas bauble.
So going back, Helen, what you mean is that the Christmas
Yeah,
cards that you received sort of last year or something, instead of throwing
absolutely,
them out,
Avril. There's some lovely cards you get from family or friends that they're really nice, and maybe some cards you want to keep as a memory.
yeah,
So
true.
you can create that. You can put it in your Christmas tree, but you don't have to just do that. You can put it like I'm doing on the windowsill as a decoration, or maybe make your own kind of installation and like a big ball of them.
Well,
You
that
can,
really is recycling, isn't it? That's a great example of using those cards again. And that's something you could do
absolutely,
at home really easily. That's lovely. Thanks for showing us that. That's really easy as well, isn't it? It doesn't look very difficult to make at all. Just the cutting the strips, making a hole, split pin,
absolutely.
and that's it.
The only thing I would say is you must get split pins, and it's very easy to do.
Oh, thanks so much, Helen. So, James, over to you. We're going to be at home for Christmas. The television is probably going to be on. Could you give us some of your top picks?
Absolutely. In Christmas usually you get some maybe older movies that have been remade, or there's new releases. Well, that's what I'm going to be talking about Christmas.
And what's coming up this Christmas then?
Well, this Christmas I'll give you a couple of examples of things that I think you'd be worth watching. If you look in Netflix have, and maybe some of you remember this from years ago, there was an old TV program called Knight Rider. Do you
What is
remember
this?
that?
Oh yes, with the flashing car, Kit the car. Yes,
That's it,
yes,
that's
yes.
it, that's the very one. Well, series 1 to series 4 and the film from all that time ago is going to be on Netflix. So if
Really?
anybody fancies a wee trip down memory lane, then that's good to watch it Netflix.
Cool. Anything else?
And Friday there's going to be more. The second series of The Witcher is coming out on Friday.
Witcher. What's The Witcher, James?
Oh, The Witcher. It's a fantasy program. It's about life as it might have been when witches and demons and things were there. It's
Oh, I've
fantastic.
not seen it. I've not seen it.
Also
What else
on
have you got up
Amazon,
your sleeve?
oh well, on Amazon Prime we have some new releases. For any families that maybe want to watch anything together. It's Cinderella,
Cinderella.
a good family
I love
favourite.
Cinderella.
It's brand new, Avril, brand new, and that's from Amazon Prime. I think older young people would like that as well. There's also another film, A Night in Miami, that I think will be popular
A Night in Miami. So it's an American film.
Yep, here it is here. There's a picture. So
And what's that about?
Well, the 4 characters in this, they're in a hotel room, basically, and they've all got different philosophies in life.
Okay.
Malcolm X is there.
Oh, I've seen the film about him.
The boxer, Muhammad Ali, he's there.
Okay. And
the singer, Sam Cooke, is there. And they're having this debate about their own philosophies in life. Wow.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll talk to you a little bit more about Christmas films and what's coming up a little bit later. But those are things to look out for those who have Netflix and Prime. Those might be films to look out for. And if our deaf viewers today have more recommendations, pop them in the comments and we can share them amongst all the viewers. Thank you. Moira, now, what have you been making for Christmas? Well, I've just got one thing to show you today. I've got some, these are over 10 years old, and I got a little bit bored with them. So I thought I'd give them a bit of a zhuzh, a bit of a transformation. So these are just old baubles for my Christmas tree. But what I transformed them into is this. Oh, that looks good. Yeah, and all you do is you need a hot glue gun. Oh, you've got one of those, Helen, yep. And you need a jar of buttons. Just ordinary clothing buttons. And you just pop the hot glue gun on and stick it on. Obviously, because you're using a hot glue gun, this is suitable for adults, not for children unsupervised. And you could put different color buttons on different backgrounds and things. And obviously that's kind of recycling. I've got a pile of buttons that I haven't thrown away. So that would be a nice way of using those up. That's lovely. What a nice idea. That's great. Helen, did you want to say something?
Oh, I think it's just tips. We'll be sharing some tips later on. I'm getting excited.
Absolutely. Any other ideas for presents? I know you have animals, don't you, Moira? You have pets. Oh, yes. Let me show you this. So have you got a big pile of buttons left over, Helen? Then you're thinking, oh, maybe you could do that. Oh, look at that little hat. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, it's lovely to see the dog. Oh, a different headdress. He looks like he's just putting up with that. So I just bought a plain one from the shop and then again added buttons for decoration. Okay, that's lovely. Yeah, just to zhuzh it up a little. So when you get together as a family and the dog's there at Christmas, do you give the dog a present? Well, he always gets one of these little advent calendar, little doggy advent calendar, because we all have ours. So it seemed a shame, the dog's part of the family, so he should be treated the same way we all are. And is the dog eager every morning, waiting for the little treat from the advent calendar? Absolutely. Loves it. Loves it. That's great. Back to you then, Helen. Do you have any more crafting ideas to share with us?
Yes, Avril. Let me think. I've got lots of children's clothes, I suppose, like everybody else, lying around. Maybe wee Christmas outfits you'd bought them and then they've got too big. So this is an example. This was a wee Christmas outfit of my children. Don't throw them out. You can reuse them. Now, on the TV, you will see
Kirsty Allsop.
Yeah, Kirsty Allsop, and she always makes lots of decorations and upcycles and recycles things. So I got inspiration from her, and it really is a big thank you to her. So what I did was I took this, as you can see, it's an old dress, and I cut the sleeve off.
You cut the sleeves off, okay.
Yeah, and then I sewed the sleeves together to make them neat, just at the ends. So when you take the sleeve off, you end up with this. This is a kind of shape.
So this is made from the sleeve that you've cut off. Okay.
Yep, there you go. That's how it would have sat on the dress. So as I said before, to make it neat, just take up the hem on both sides and so as it's neat and there's not frayed edges. But I wasn't satisfied with just that. I wanted to add something else. So as you can see, I've got some silver stars, some gold stars, just different small things. It could be things that maybe you have. It could be buttons and Moira as used in her baubles. It could be anything at all. Like Moira, use a hot glue gun, glue the little stars or whatever you want all over this piece of material. And then you use it for...
Oh, I can't think. What is this going to be?
Okay, are you ready? Look.
Oh, that is clever. That's made from a sleeve.
Yes.
Huh.
So it's so pretty.
That's brilliant.
And you can do that every year.
Sure.
Yeah. I just love this kind of thing. It's so pretty.
That's a great idea. Just cutting off the sleeve to make a bottle cover. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that was from a dress, as you can see, just a bit of like kind of plaid dress. But I'm thinking that I'll make something with other material as well. And then just things that they can make it just more pretty, more colourful and things like that. So
Great.
you've got lots of these things lying around the house. You know, when the weather's rotten, you're stuck in. These are the times to do it.
Yeah, it's nice time to be at home making things. You know, when you can't go outside, but there's still plenty to do, isn't there? And when the family's at home, you could do it all together. Great, thank you. Back to you then, James. There is you were talking about films before, but of course, there's a famous Christmas tradition of That's the One,
Here it is, the Radio Times.
the Radio Times. Are there other magazines that do the same thing? Or
Yeah, there is. There have lots of magazines that say TV Guide. Sometimes their own newspapers, tabloids have an insert as well.
yeah.
But the Radio Times is synonymous with Christmas.
So it's quite a big, thick bumper edition, isn't it?
Yeah.
And where does that take us from? From now to New Year, or?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so what's on Christmas Eve then, James? Tell us what we've got in store.
Well, there's lots of programmes on Christmas Eve in the afternoon. You could watch two different types of film. BBC One at 1:30 at lunchtime is showing Frozen.
Ah, Frozen.
Oh,
An
Helen's
annual
singing
favourite.
now, Let It Go, Let It Go. And that's really good for the younger children. But the older children might prefer a different film on Channel 4 at 2 o'clock. And that's It's a Wonderful
Oh,
Life.
yes, I love that. It's a Wonderful Life. What's that, James? Why is that
It's
traditional?
James Stewart. He's the lead in it, and it's a famous film. And it's about, he was having real problems, financial problems at work. And then an angel came to him and he said, I wish I'd never been alive. So the angel took him at his word and said, I'll show you what life would be like if you weren't here. And he showed him that his life was worthwhile and it was meant to be. And it's just such a beautiful story.
So that's on Christmas Eve?
Yes, Christmas Eve.
Anything else? Any other films?
Also at 6 o'clock, watch out for, and here it is, Home Alone.
Ah, yeah. I love that. How many are there now, Home Alones? How many Home Alones?
I think there's 3 in the...
No,
Was
isn't
it
there
5?
4? There's a new
Maybe.
one. There's a recent release. I think there's Home Alone 4 now.
Oh, I can remember, 1, 2, 3, and we're going back 30 years nearly now.
Oh, yeah, but some of those old films you can watch again and again and again.
Yeah,
well, I can at least. Helen and Moira, what Christmas films do you watch again and again? Oh, Wizard of Oz for me. Wizard of Oz. Is that your sign for Wizard of Oz? Wizard of Oz, clicking the heels. Lovely. Oh, yeah. When I was young, I used to absolutely adore that.
Moira, I never really watched things again. I suppose Home Alone might have been the exception. I watched that again and again because it was funny and it felt good and relatable.
Mine is every year. I never see it, but it used to be Charlie Chaplin. Used to be on every year at Christmas, and he hasn't been on for ages.
Remember that?
I used to love that in the morning. We'd all gather and
Laurel
watch
and
Charlie
Hardy
Chaplin.
as well. Do you remember that?
Yep. James, any more? What's on Christmas Day?
Well, Christmas Day, there's a special Strictly on.
Oh, so would Rose be in that? Or
no, it's not. It's a Christmas special. It's not. And what's happened is, but I have to say, while we're talking about Rose, I have to say, Rose is in the final on Saturday.
Fingers crossed. I'll be watching it absolutely glued to the screen. Yeah, I love Rose and Giovanni.
So sometimes, in Christmas, you end up having 2 programmes that you want to watch and the times clash. Well, yes. I've got 2 for you that does exactly that. At 8 o'clock in BBC One, we have Call the Midwife.
My favourite.
So
I'm going to have to watch that.
For its Christmas special. But at the same time on Channel 4, We've got the Great Christmas Bake Off.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, the Bake Off. Okay.
So
Famous
you're going
contestants?
to have to decide one or the other, or
I'm going
record
to have to
both.
record them.
Well, but you know, guys, that after you watch something that's displayed like the BBC, you can watch it afterwards in the iPlayer or in
Yep.
Channel 4 as well, catch up. But also remember, Channel 4 have a +1 channel, so you could sneakily watch Strictly and then watch +1 Bake Off.
Well, thank you for those films and top tips. And yeah, it's nice to see some old favorites, but also some new releases. Thank you for sharing those with us, James. Moira, can I come back to you? Have you got any other pet presents that you can think of? Well, I showed you my dog,
Ducati.
because that's the name of a motorbike, and my husband is a massive motorbike fan. So, so I've shown you things for Ducati, but let me also show you this. Oh, a lovely bowl.
So beautiful.
Yeah, a special Christmas dinner bowl. And what is that? It's a squidgy toy, is it? Yeah, it makes a
Oh, it's a
noise.
sausage.
Yeah. It's just a play sausage, a little toy. I thought it was a real sausage for a moment then. And this is a little pack of, you can see, I hope, snack bones. Turkey snack bones. And I thought that was nice, the flavor of Christmas, The dog's going to be coming in, yes, wagging his tail. I was trying to keep the dog out of the room, keep this secret, but never mind. Oh, wow, there's plenty in that, isn't there? Yeah, a nice stocking for the dog. Well, that's got a nice variety. Look.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, I've never seen that before. Wow.
Oh, those are new. Yeah, it's filled with things. I know. Shush, Ducati absolutely loves these things. So I thought I really had to buy this. What's that? Oh, it's a ball.
Wow.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, a kind of Santa ball for Christmas. I think dogs have more choice at Christmas than cats. That's how it seems to me, because I've bought something for my cat. Look, here's a dreamy stocking.
Oh, that's lovely.
The cat is absolutely glued to me now. You can't see the cat off screen, but they are absolutely looking at me. I think there's more and more for cats every year, but I think there's more choice for dogs. I really do.
Could I ask something, Moira? Is it chocolate or for dogs? You shouldn't be giving dogs chocolate.
No, I don't agree with dog chocolate. No, because dogs will eat chocolate, and I think it's too confusing. I think you have to keep your snacks separate. There are human snacks and there are dog snacks. So we have special snacks for the dogs, and that's it. We keep it separate. Well, I've just got this, my Dreamies stocking that I showed you, and there's cheese flavour Dreamies, and there's turkey flavour Dreamies, and fish flavour Dreamies, and beef. But also, hang on there, what's interesting is, Christmas pudding, and Christmas cake or whatever. Cats absolutely love ice cream, especially when it's kind of melted. If you have melted ice cream left over, honestly, the cats will devour that.
Really?
Does your dog have pudding at all, or? No, I don't. I think my dog only likes it when the ice cream van comes. Likes a Mr. Whippy, loves one of those. But Ducati really has a best friend called Ben. So, are these bow ties?
Oh, it's a tie.
Oh, it's a tie. And do they just clip onto the collar? Yeah, they clip on the side of the collar. So this is a present from Ducati to his best doggy friend, Ben. He's got a best friend, and who's he's a dog, is it? Yeah.
Norman's sister Anne, her partner Joyce, her nephew's dog is glued to Ducati. It's been over
And
a
so they
year.
give each other presents.
Yeah, they go
Oh,
everywhere. They tour Scotland together. So we thought that would be nice.
oh, so a dog present for another dog, and little ties for them to wear. That's a lovely idea. That's gorgeous. Helen, can we come back to you? Any more crafting from our craft queen?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now you can look behind me and you see all my crafty stuff, and I'm just going to pick one to show you. Now, we have a look. This is one of my favourite things to make.
So what are we looking at
Avril
here,
gave
Helen?
me this as a present years ago. So what I've got inside is this. Do you see this?
Yeah, that's lovely.
It's a bubble bath. It's actually a bubble bath container that was
But
finished.
made into a Christmas pudding. You've decorated it
Yeah.
as Christmas pudding.
Yeah, it actually smells like Christmas pudding.
Wow.
So when it was finished, I just kept it as an ornament. So what I did was, you know what the fashion now is, that green colour. It's just really dark kind of bottle green. It's a lovely, I love that colour. Anyway, I'm going to show you. When I was given the box, that was all the writing stuff, you know,
Just
the
text
codes
on
and
the
all
back
that.
there. Yeah.
But I thought, how can I change that? I searched around and I looked for something that would match it, and I found this Christmas card,
Oh, that's
perfect
perfect.
size. And look, by just putting that in, you've got your wee bows, keep it in
And
place.
it covers up all of that writing, and it looks like a fresh new present.
And it could be next year I'll keep the box, but then change some decorations on it.
So you're just recycling it year on year. Wonderful.
Absolutely. Any new ideas, just use that.
Well, I've got something a bit similar to that. Let me show you this.
Oh, I like that. That's good. Again, Avril, that's something you could use every single year.
Yeah, and really it's just made of paper, kind of cardboard, hard paper. And what you do, it's the 14th today, isn't it? So let's have a look. What's in the little box for the 14th? Ooh, a chocolate.
What is it?
Don't
Give it to
mind
me,
if I
Avril. That's my
do.
favourite.
Don't mind if I do. Oh, I'm not sharing. No.
Ooh, nice.
Maybe when we've finished, when we're not live streaming, I'll let you share. I'll have a cup of coffee and I'll have that with my coffee. But this advent calendar, this advent tree, I use every year, never throw it out. And then every year I just refill it with new sweets, different things every year. And it recycles really, really well. So that's a permanent thing. And it's lovely color, nice Christmas red.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So James, can we come back to you for a moment? Because I think you said you had some more Christmas information for us. I know you've talked about films, but I think you wanted to talk a little about the history of Christmas and give us some insight into that. Where did Christmas start? How did it come about? Where are some of these traditions from?
Absolutely, Avril, sure. I mean, most people will think of Santa Claus as coming along the top of a roof with a big sack and jumping down a chimney. But what most people don't realise is the character of Santa Claus came originally from a real person. And it was Nicholas of
Mara.
And that's in the southeast of Turkey.
So he was originally from Turkey?
Yeah, well, at that time, Turkey was under the Roman occupation. So we're going back a wee bit, but that's what it was. It was originally from sort of Greece, but then moved to the southwest of Turkey. The historical records and information that you can find out about Christmas, people have thought that Nicholas or Saint Nicholas looked like this.
Oh, really? That's what he's supposed to have looked like. Wow, interesting.
Well, that's what people have decided that he looked like based from historical records.
So how do we get from there to what we have now?
Well, what happened was Nicholas was really famous within his area because at Christmas time he would give presents. He was known as being very, very kind, and particularly to the poor. And he
That's where that
became
comes from.
a role model, and people were starting to imitate what he was doing. And sometimes, people will see pictures of Father Christmas with a green outfit on, old pictures, and now
That
with the
has
red
changed
on.
over time, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Because it was originally green and is now red. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, well, the reason it was green was at that time, it was just sort of part of the celebrations, and they were linking the colours to sort of spring coming, after the winter. And it was popular within Britain as well. And Britain had chosen to have the red Santa Claus purely because of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola adopted Santa Claus
Yes,
as
I can see
part
that.
of their promotions, but they changed it to use their colours, the red. Other countries have other names for Santa Claus. The Dutch call Father Christmas Sinterklaas.
Oh, tricky to spell that one. Sinterklaas. This is Dutch, right? Okay.
Yep. So what happened was when the Dutch had actually went to America, the Sinterklaas became Santa
really?
Claus. It just
Santa Claus?
changed.
Interesting.
The Dutch tradition is this. This is what Santa Claus looks like in Holland, Netherlands.
On a horse, right?
And the reason he's red is because St. Nicholas, the real person, St. Nicholas, was a bishop, and the bishop colours are red. So when you see Father Christmas and Santa Claus, there is a direct link to St. Nicholas, who was a bishop, and the bishop colours were red.
Do you think it will ever go back to green again, do you think? Or do you think it's just
I don't
stuck as
think
red
so.
now?
I think red is the dominant one now.
Yes, we're all wearing red today, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Thank you for that historical tour, James. I know that there are different traditions, but James, do you know anything about Christmas trees? Where does that tradition come from?
Well,
is that from Norway? Is it or?
Well, actually, Christmas started in popularity in Europe really from Germany. Germany was a hub of it. And when Queen Victoria married Prince Albert, who was German, he was really, everybody thinks it was about him that brought the tree here, but actually it wasn't. It was George III's wife. It was her who introduced Caroline to Christmas trees to Britain, and that was in the 1800s. So it's a common myth that it was Prince Albert, but it wasn't. It was prior to that. It was George III's reign where Christmas trees were introduced in Britain, but it became popularised by Prince Albert because people were seeing photographs and things, and they just wanted to copy the royalty.
Well, that's interesting. So our traditions turn from green to red, and we get Christmas trees. Wonderful. Helen, I believe you've got another piece of craftiness to show us.
I do indeed, Avril. And it's a game. Every year at Christmas, family and friends will all get together and play games, but this is one of my favourites.
A jigsaw? Yeah. A jigsaw puzzle, yeah. So what about jigsaws?
Now, every year I do my Christmas jigsaws, and this is a tip for you. Now, maybe you've been doing your jigsaw pieces and there's a couple of missing that's happened through the years. Yeah. Don't throw them out. Okay. You can what do we do recycle them. So all you need is a bit of hard card, glue, some glue, You could paint it green, or you could put some paper over it, some shiny stuff, whatever you like. But this is what I did for mine, and this is one of my favourite crafts. It's a wreath using
Oh,
the
wow.
puzzles,
So
the
you've
jigsaw
used all the
pieces.
jigsaw pieces to create the wreath. That
Yeah.
is beautiful. What a fantastic idea.
Oh, that's lovely. There's no waste. Yeah,
That's
it's
great.
perfect because, if you get missing pieces, use it somewhere else. And I just love it. It just
That's a
says
terrific
it's
idea. And
something
you can use
different to
that,
put in your door.
and you can use that every year as well. And the jigsaws are kind of mostly made of cardboard. So you're just sticking
Uh,
it onto a cardboard background, or?
yeah, do you know we're always getting Amazon boxes, and I hate waste. See the thickness of an Amazon box, that's perfect. Use that, cut out a template, and then just glue the pieces of the jigsaw to it and other wee decorative stuff as
That
well.
is a
How nice
great
is that?
idea
It's lovely and simple.
because it looks so different. It looks great. Doesn't look like a jigsaw. Wow. Oh, well, now I've got so many things to do. I've got to cut up all my cards. I've got to get sticking my jigsaws. I've got to cut the sleeves off my jumpers. I think there's plenty to do. Oh, and the box as well. Thank you, Moira. Yeah.
Yeah, next time, Avril, I expect you have all the same things.
Well, there's been plenty of ideas for all our viewers to make themselves busy at home. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Moira, when you're home alone with your family at Christmas, do you play games as well? Oh, deaf people love that because it's so creative, it's so hands-on. And it's not about talk, it's about doing. Yes, very suitable. Can you tell viewers perhaps who don't know it what Pictionary is about? Okay, so you get a board like this, and then you get dice. And then there's another important part, isn't there? You get a pad to draw on, and there's a timer. Isn't there a squeegee ball? Do I remember? Isn't there some kind of squeegee ball? So this is a version of a kind of, it's a TV, it's a film, whatever, but you're now doing it through drawing as a medium. So I think Pictionary has been going for over 25 years. We love it every year. And then there's another one that I really like to play, which is this. Oh, what is that?
Yeah.
Do you get a pie in your face? Yeah, I bought it a couple of years ago. You actually get a cream pie, and as you move around the board, the mechanism for throwing the pie gets cranked up and cranked up and cranked up until somebody gets a pie in their face. Do you get a pie in the face often? Sometimes. And then there's this one. What's this?
Oh,
What's that?
I've never heard of this.
So it's a couple of water cannons, really. And the idea is to knock down your opponent's piece. Yeah, they are actually full of live water, and it's great fun.
Wow.
It's a kind of water cannon game. And finally, last but not least, really, I bought this years ago, and this is just great fun to play.
Oh, table football. I remember that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
Just
I love
any
that,
old
Moira.
table, like your dining table or your coffee table. Put paper on it, and out comes the game.
Do you know, that reminds me of when I was young, I had Subutio. Did any of you remember that? It
Oh,
was a
those
small
little
wee
figures that you
figures,
flick.
yeah, and we had
Yeah.
to flick them. That reminds me so much of that.
Haven't seen that for ages. You used to
Oh,
get a
yeah.
little roll-up pitch, didn't you? And then you'd have the little figures and flick the ball across. Yeah, that was wonderful. I remember that. So on Christmas Day, you play games with the family? Is that what you do? Yeah, we really want to avoid watching television too much and avoid just kind of slobbing out on the sofa. So we play games and have fun. It's great. It's a real tradition. Helen, what do you do on Christmas Day? Is that games or quizzes, or what happens in your house?
Well, me and the children love playing Uno. We
Oh,
love
Uno,
it's such
yes.
an easy game. It's really relaxing and fun. My children love it too. You know, definitely we will be playing that again this Christmas.
Moira, do you want to say something more? Oh, yeah, cards. Honestly, we play cards all the time. One bad cue, one bad queen.
Scabby Queen.
Yeah.
So we used to play these cards, and basically you get a whole deck of cards, and you remove one of the queens, and whoever's left with one queen is called the Scabby Queen. And they used to have to do the dishes and things like that afterwards. That's just a memory from years ago. I remembered.
So maybe there are enough queens for everyone to have the queen, right? So that's how you appoint your dishwasher. Nice, nice. James, any Christmas family traditions in your house? What do you do? Quizzes or just conversation, or what happens with you?
Well, regularly in our house, we play card games. What's that?
What's that? What's that? What is this?
Oh, right. What it is that you try and work out who's got the most points in cards, and which is, so everybody then picks a card, puts it at their head, and see who's got the best card or the highest card. So if you lose points if you don't have the
Okay.
highest cards. It's a family game that we've been playing for years. We also play board games. Articulate is one of their favourites. And you use cards and
Is it
well,
a
what happens
quiz-based
is,
game?
well, what you're trying to do is match a person to a sort of topic, people or places or different things like that. And you need to try the best that you can to try and get around the board, and the first one to get to the end's the winner.
Okay, so if you're at home with your family on Christmas Day or your friends, do you have any tips? I mean, many of us spend time with our hearing families, and that can be a little isolating. So, any tips for anyone to help them have a more inclusive Christmas with their families? Any tips, anyone? Well,
I
I think you have to remind people that you're there and that you're human. Also, make sure that in groups you have you give a couple of people the role of just trafficking, making sure that they control that conversation, so that it's not always you that is interrupting the conversation to say, excuse me, what did everyone say? If you appoint a couple of people as kind of conversation police, that really helps.
Do you know, I agree with Moira. I remember when I was with my hearing family growing up at Christmas, and we used to play Scrabble.
Oh, I
That was
love
a
that.
game that we played. And I remembered that sometimes they forgot I was there and got distracted, and they would start
Yeah.
talking, and I would just play with my brother and sister and friends, and that was fine.
Same for you, James. Did you have a similar experience? Well, could I just add first, though? Scrabble, I think, is if there's a deaf person in the family at all, games are a good way of bonding. If you create a nice visual game, maybe not a quiz game, but one of those visual games like the ones that I showed before, they're a really good way of involving deaf people in family events.
I couldn't agree more. Also, it's good that when you're playing games, like factual information or something, jokes I would not recommend, because jokes is culturally different. But I totally agree with Moira. I think, just really playing games and visual games so that everybody can play their part. And sometimes in Christmas crackers, you've got Christmas facts. That's a good one, just to stimulate a conversation where everyone share a fact about Christmas and encourage everybody to use a bit of sign and a bit of visual language. So there's I think there's lots of different ways we can keep the bond there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I came from a deaf family, so we all signed. But I remember when we went to hearing relatives for Christmas, it was a very different experience. And the three of us would often feel quite isolated. Um, and we'd say, do you mind if you could put the television on with no sound? Because hearing people would all be talking to each other across the dinner table. And, we'd occasionally be asked, "Are you okay?" But that was the only question we'd be asked. And remember, back in those days, television didn't have subtitles at all. But, when subtitling came, that was a whole different experience. But for hearing people, I think it seems to be that if they have the television on in the background, it seems rude, whereas for
That's
deaf
right,
people, it's a
yeah.
kind of visual comfort. So, we'd be sitting at the table and I'd make sure I was sitting near the TV so I'd get some visual stimulus. And my father and my dad would always come and sit next to me. We'd always try and make sure we were at that end of the table because my dad would use me as an excuse. Oh, the little one needs to be near the TV. I'll just have to go and sit with her. But just, I mean, when subtitles came, you could watch a film while you're eating your meal, and that was great. You actually got some enjoyment from it. So, and maybe that's another tip, that, don't turn the television off, keep it on, but turn the sound off. It won't disturb you as hearing people, but it'll give deaf people some comfort.
Avro, look, I mean, there's the Radio Times. We could be looking at things, some good programmes that actually have subtitles on, and you can make sure that that's there. So I totally agree with you. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can still be involved. You're sitting at the table with everyone. You're being communal. You're sitting around and eating together, but you've got some other kind of stimulus. I mean, when I look back at Christmases, well, I'm wondering whether I should ask you if you've had a favorite present, whether that's recently or from
Oh,
childhood.
me
Is there a
first, me
favorite thing you
first.
can remember?
Well, I can remember sort of growing up, I got this present, and it was it was school things, like a protractor and a compass that you would get for school. I loved that. Every year I got that, and I loved it.
So you go to school with all your shiny new things.
Yes.
Yeah. And, you always had to have your compass, didn't you? And yeah, they were sort of luxury items, I think. It's always the small things that are important in the end, isn't it? And
Yeah.
anybody else want to contribute? Well, I've got two. The first one that I absolutely loved was E.T. And the little E.T., was this a model? Yeah, a little model about this size with his arms sticking out. And when you got close, he lit up. I loved it. I took him to bed with me. I slept with him by my pillow. It was lovely. And my other one
Oh,
was a Cindy doll. I
yep.
mean, Barbie's all the rage now, isn't it? But back in the day was Cindy. And she had a few accessories with her, and I made things for her. And actually, I have to confess, I stole my brother's eagle eye action man. My brother was crying, wanted to know where his action man had gone, but I took him to play with Cindy because he had parachutes and everything. Cindy didn't have great accessories. She just had fashion. So yeah, I stole his stuff. James, is E.T. on our televisions this year?
Oh, I would have to have a right good look. Maybe people should buy the Radio Times and find out.
I think Christmas is always on. E.T.'s always on at Christmas, right? It's very visual. It's like Gremlins. That's another good one. Really visual. The
Yeah.
little things with the ears, yeah. The
I
little
remember
gremlins with the
that.
evil eyes. That was kind of quite favourite. I don't know. It had some sort of deaf sensibility about it. I really loved that. What's your favourite present, James?
Well, for me, when people gave me presents, I used to just look at it and 2 minutes later I'd forget about it. That was just me. I'd read a book, I'd watch something and throw it away. I was finished with it. But what I always did, and it's been the tradition within my family for all these years, is when I went to bed at night, in the morning, at the fireplace, there would be a stocking that would be hanging at the fireplace.
Ah, yes.
So for me, in my head, Father Christmas, Santa Claus had put these goodies in this stocking for me. and that was the first thing I always went for. There'd be an orange, some sweets, sometimes teeny wee presents in it, and I would have a ball pulling that stocking to bits. And that's something that I've just always done.
Oh, that's lovely. And will you have a stocking this Christmas as an adult, or don't you do that anymore?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
Maybe I should bring it back.
Yeah, maybe you should.
Oh, no, I've passed that tradition to my nephew. He's now taken up the mantle.
My favourite Christmas present was a bit weird, really, as a deaf person. But I remember plaguing my mum and dad for a jukebox.
No,
Yeah, it played
Avril,
music.
can't
Yeah,
be.
you know it did. Honestly, it was a massive thing. It was huge. And you put records on it and it played the records and the records went round. But the thing about this thing was it flashed coloured lights like a disco. So it was really visual. And these lights came flashing on. And I felt like, I don't know, like I was a hearing person or something. And my parents were like, what are you doing with this music machine? But I absolutely loved it. When it was dark, I turn all the lights out, close the curtains, get these lights flashing, you know. Oh, it was great. I gave up after a while, but my dad used to say, you have to turn that thing off at 7 o'clock because of the neighbours, because I'm sure I had it cranked up at full volume. I mean, what a weird present for a deaf kid, but I absolutely loved it. And a watch for Christmas, which had snow. As the hands went round, it snowed. It was honestly, it was the most beautiful thing. As I said before, it's the small things that are important, isn't it? When you look back. Interesting.
Well, I can think back at 7 o'clock. That's right, when we were young. No noise. Now it's up to about 11 o'clock you're allowed noise.
Yeah, it's habits, isn't it? It's just habits. But I still turn things kind of down or off about 7 o'clock. Like the washing machine never goes on after 7 o'clock. The dishwasher or anything. Just habits that you grow up with. I don't know if you're the same, anyone?
Oh, I just continue until I get a complaint.
Ah.
I've had a complaint since, so I'm carrying on. I think we have to use our common sense. I mean, you don't put a washing machine on at 2 or 3 in the morning.
James.
Well, you know, my hearing family, growing up, I was always told, shh, shh.
Me too. Yeah, absolutely. I was in a deaf family, but we were still very worried about the neighbours. You know, we wanted to be respectful to the neighbours. We wanted to have good relations with the neighbours. We didn't want to provoke any clashes. So, you know, we wanted them to be supportive of us. So we were always very mindful of that. Well, Christmas is coming next week, folks. What are you going to be eating?
Oh.
What are you going to be eating for your Christmas dinner? What are you going to have?
Well, me.
All traditional in my house.
Well, my family love having a German Christmas, which is herring.
So you eat fish? Oh, wow.
Yes, meatballs, potatoes, salad, and it's cold. It's cold, but it's wonderful. And you make the meal 2 days before.
Okay.
And we celebrate on Christmas Eve, the 24th of December. So we have our meal then. And then on 25th, we have the traditional Christmas dinner.
Wow.
Oh, sometimes on Christmas Day, we'll have ham, maybe have salmon, maybe have different things. We sometimes have a selection of small things that you can choose
Moira,
from.
what happens in your house? Completely full traditional. Full traditional.
Lentil soup or a prawn cocktail. Dinners, the same: turkey, ham, roast beef, potatoes, carrots, Brussels sprouts, the whole full gambit.
Oh, with a big plate.
And puddings, can be anything. And this year, I think we're going for, you know, the pink and white. Oh, marshmallows. Maybe with Rice Krispies and chocolate, and mix it all together and then make a cheesecake out of it. That's, I think, we're going to do. We're going to make a cheesecake this year.
We should be in Bake Off, it looks like. You should be in the Christmas Bake Off. I know your cakes. I know you can bake. We should get you in the Christmas Bake Off. Strictly Come Dancing's got a deaf person in. I think we should have Moira in the Bake Off next year. James, what are you going to be eating for Christmas?
Well, this year, I'm vegan. So that means Christmas is going to be
Ooh,
very
what are you going to
different for me, and
have?
it's a challenge. So I'm having to look around and scour the shops to see what vegan products they have and what I fancy. So I'm thinking, normally the family would have a turkey, ham, the usual stuff, But for me this year, being vegan, it's going to be very different. So I haven't found everything yet.
Oh, well, do let us know what you end up having. So are you going to be eating sort of corn, something made of corn,
Possibly.
or do you
Or
have plenty of
soya.
choices?
Could be soya. There's lots of different things, tofu and different things like that I can use.
Oh, so
So
you do have
there's lots
choices.
there. I just need to go and scour and see what's available. I've left it too late and people are up there getting their shopping just now, so I've still got that to do, but I'm on it.
Well, I mean, I think the shops are selling out, so I'm sure you'll all get your Christmas orders in soon.
What about you, Avril? You've asked us, what's your
I think
tradition?
it's going to be traditional. It's usually turkey, but maybe chicken this year. I don't know. Turkey sometimes can be a bit dry
Yeah,
unless it
you
has
need
lots
loads of
of
gravy.
gravy. So it might be chicken this year. Soup, a nice broth, nice and warming.
Lovely.
Then the traditional dinner, and then like Moira, with the same sort of thing. But I always like to have ice cream and mince pies. I love mince pie. Oh, no,
No, mince pies for me, no. Oh, but I love them. For me, November straight through when the Christmas cakes are out and the mince pies, I love them. And Helen said, I cannot stand it. I can't stand. It's too rich for me, a mince pie.
James, are you? I've just got a distraction. I need to just leave the screen. I'll be back in a moment. James, what do you have for pudding? Do you put a shilling in your pudding? I think that tradition has stopped, hasn't it? But it did start some time ago.
Well, Christmas puddings, traditionally 400, 500 years ago, they actually were meat. Would you believe it? Christmas pudding was traditionally meat. Yeah,
Ooh.
it was mince. So, and then it changed and it became more sweet things were put in it and it became more of a pudding. But the superstition of putting maybe a shilling or a silver coin in it, a sixpence, I think, was the normal one. And then whoever found the sixpence, that was lucky. But that tradition really seems to have finished because the sixpence finished in 1971, and and people are not really using modern day coins
Moira,
now.
3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Oh my goodness!
No!
Who is this?
Oh,
my
you've made a
word.
hat for your
Well,
terrapin.
happy Christmas, little terrapin. Wow.
And he's 10 years old. Wow.
He's got a hat on. Oh my word. That's very different, isn't it? It'll keep him warm anyway.
That is really funny.
That was a surprise. Well, I hope everyone has a lovely Christmas. It's soon upon us. And I think we had a question in from a viewer. So let's just deal with this question before we finish. Can we put the question back on the screen, please?
So read the question out. Some families have very different traditions for Christmas. What was your traditions? And you still did. And what traditions did you wish you continued to do? Mine was my own mum always gave us brand new PJs on Christmas Eve. We also got to order pizza at Domino's. I would only get Domino's once a year.
Oh,
and
really?
it was
I like that. That's nice. Thank you, Erin. Those are some nice ideas there. You're right. Thank you. Because I think every year Christmas presents are, new pajamas were a traditional thing.
Yep.
Did everybody else get new pajamas for Christmas?
Not me. I didn't get them.
Oh, yeah. New pajamas. You always got new pajamas for Christmas. And toiletries. Always toiletries at Christmas. Shower, gel, and bath things. Yeah, absolutely. It seems traditional. I don't know if that's the same for everyone else.
Well, traditionally, in Christmas Eve, I'm glad you mentioned it, that in other countries around the world, they celebrate Christmas Eve. and they give Father Christmas presents.
A glass
That
of
was
brandy?
actually,
Yeah.
yeah, and things like that, and milk. They would leave presents out
milk.
for Father Christmas, and the reason they did
And
that,
a carrot. Don't forget the carrot for the reindeer.
absolutely, Moira, you're right. The carrot for Rudolph, I forgot about that. But in Britain and Australia, it seems to be the sort of Commonwealth countries that beer, milk, or whiskey was left as a traditional
whiskey,
drink
definitely.
with a mince pie for Santa. And it happened in Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Norway. And what they would put in would be rice pudding.
Ah.
And they would put some sugar on it or some cinnamon and things like that for Santa Claus coming to their houses. Sometimes people would put like some Guinness and a mince pie. There could be cookies, lots of different things.
Cookies.
And these traditions tend to go with countries as well.
Well, folks, our hour is almost up. So, Moira, can this be the last contribution? So I showed you Ed before, who's 10. And obviously there aren't very many presents available for Terrapins. So he's got this coming this year. And if I open this up, you will see. Ta-da! Terrapin food!
What a lovely idea.
Oh, that's nice and special. So that's his food. And I'll show you what that looks like. It's like this. This kind of thing. Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Is it? He just eats that, does he?
Ooh.
What is that? It's just his food. Okay. And there's only one kind of food that he can get. Oh, it's his favorite anyway. So I've wrapped it up for him. Nice and festive. But thank you very much, everyone, for sharing all of your Christmas crafts and your games and your films and your information. It's been very exciting. And I'm sure all our viewers have been making notes, ready for turning their televisions on, making their crafts, doing all sorts of things. I hope at home you enjoyed all the ideas that we've shared with you. And I think finally, we'd just like to say to you, Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Bye.
Bye.